I guess there's not much left to investigate, huh? They really did kill each other. No, we can't conclude that quite yet. There's still something I find very peculiar here. I find that the theory they simply killed one another is too simplistic in this case. In fact, there's actually a contradiction that shows that there's another possibility. No way, pal. Really? What if he's still alive? I suppose I'll just have to show you the conflict in this crime scene. I don't know if, like, to do this with the knife. I don't think this would kill him. Like, I'll show the knife. Other that, and then it's like the gun in his other hand. Because my argument here is that it wouldn't kill it. No, like that actually isn't a stab wound that would kill someone. Like, I don't care how deep that is. Like, it's like the worst it would do is graze a lung. Even then, he would be alive for a really long time. Unless it was super unlucky, his one lung would just rupture and he'd just have a really tough time and internal bleeding, etc., etc., etc. But that's just, this isn't a lethal wound. But right here, I guess. With his fountain pen. Now we come face to face with the contradiction I spoke of, and it is this. Mr. Faraday used his left hand to write with his fountain pen, ergo he is left-handed. What if he's ambidextrous? Yet the handgun is in his right hand. Don't you find it odd that the left-handed Mr. Faraday would hold the gun in his right hand? That, ladies and gentlemen, is the great contradiction haunting this crime scene. Hey, you're right, pal. That does seem kind of strange. But how could something like that happen? The facts add up to one conclusion, one alone. Someone else put the gun in Mr. Faraday's hand after he died. Someone else? Plastic bags scattered on the floor and a gun in the wrong hand. It seems the presence of a shadowy figure behind this case. A person of vile intent who is serious about keeping the truth from us. Investigation complete. Thank you for the little baby up. Can't wait for Von Karma to yell at me some more. Here's the autopsy report. It is probable that Mr. Rell survived for a short time after he was shot. However, Mr. Faraday died instantly from his stabbing. Interesting. What? It's not a lethal stab unless it's like... I don't know, unless it's like... I don't know. I'm fucking missing something. How long's a short while? Looks like we now know everything we need to know about this case. Also, it's possible he could have, like, fallen on top of him, and dude couldn't get out. But it was still a planted crime scene. Are you sure we know everything? Of course! The incident began with Mr. Faraday attempting to get his revenge. The prosecutor went into a rage from being accused and tried to kill the defendant. But the defendant fought back, and they ended up killing each other. It's all very clear and simple. There's absolutely no margin for doubt. Do you really believe that to be the truth? Huh, are you saying that just because I figured out the truth before you? That you don't want to believe it, want you to believe it's true. You don't want to believe that it's true. Fuck. It's alright. If you disagree with my argument, then prove me wrong. Well, if there are any contradictions to be found, that is. Don't worry, I will. See you in 5 years. Mr. Faraday's death was instantaneous while Mr. Rell survived a short time. From this is obvious that Mr. Faraday died after he shot Mr. Rell. And Mr. Rell, while on the brink of death, stole Mr. Faraday's knife and stabbed him. Those are the facts of this case. Yeah, sure. Mr. Faraday's death was instantaneous, therefore he must have attacked first. Proving that logic to be false is probably the fastest way to show her that she's wrong. In that case, I should look for any holes in her theory. Dude was still on top of him, though. That's just a fact. Mr. Faraday shot Mr. Rel before he died. Do you have any basis for that statement? Your foolishness has no end, does it? Now, I hate to repeat myself, however, Mr. Faraday died instantly. That's all the basis I need. Alright, so if Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, then he must have attacked Mr. Rel before being stabbed. You're finally beginning to catch on, I see. So you believe that the dying Mr. Rel stole the knife from Mr. Faraday? Mr. Rel became desperate, as he did not want to die. Human beings can do amazing things when they are put to the test. So the two men struggled, and in the end Mr. Rel was able to grab the knife and stab Mr. Faraday. The messy condition of the room is a testament to their struggle. Yes, my logic is perfectly sound. Can you really say that it's perfect? What are you insinuating? Nothing. However, I can't let that, what you said slide by without further inquiry. One must be clear and precise. So if you could have penned that statement to your testimony. Fine. Oops. Boop, 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 boop. Bye. Plastic bags. Fuck. God damn it, it's not here. Press on that. About that statement. Mr. Rel used all of his remaining strength to take the knife and defend himself. One can easily see that they had a violent struggle. Of course, it's nothing compared to what my riding crop can do. How does one compare the damage her crop can do with the state of this room? Furthermore, all the plastic bags on the floor in this room were scattered there due to the fight. Is there anything else that I can explain for you? No, that'll be fine. Okay, so let's do the bag. It's like the only one. Fuck. What else? What's the fucking contradiction? Oh, it's something. I don't know what it is, though. I need to pay more attention to her testimony. Oh my god. Crime scene notes. Oh my god. Shotgun stabbing. Oh. Okay, that's how he died then. It's possible. Let's present that. Nope, fuck. Okay. It's something with this stupid fucking thing. But, I'm having a fucking brain aneurysm. What the fuck? It's not that. Quality nib. It's not the crime scene notes. It should be the crime scene notes. Oh! Gumshoe. Duh. Fuck. If the two men were fighting, their struggle would have surely caused quite a bit of noise. However, Detective Gumshoe testified that he heard absolutely nothing. You place too much faith in that detective's testimony, you know. But for the sake of argument, let's say there wasn't a fight. How then did Mr. Rel get his hands on the knife? Mr. Faraday's bag was sitting there in lobby number 2. It's not hard to imagine that perhaps Mr. Rel saw a chance and took it out at some point. So, what you're saying is this. Mr. Rel took a chance when he saw the opportunity and took the knife from the bag. Then Mr. Faraday shot Mr. Rel after being stabbed. Isn't there something strange in Francisca's statement just now? Yes, something is off. Wait, something doesn't add up. Oh, really? It's simply not possible for Mr. Faraday to have shot Mr. Rel after being stabbed. Because, He's already dead. According to the coroner's report, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, meaning that he died immediately upon being stabbed by the knife. Ergo, he could not possibly have fired the gun after that. Oh, you got me. This is a trap. But of course. Well, then if the report is correct, then there's only one correct explanation. If we suppose that Mr. Rel attacked first, then Mr. Faraday, who died instantly, would have been unable to kill Mr. Rel. Therefore, Mr. Rel must have stabbed Mr. Faraday after he was shot. Then they both died. This is the only explanation that makes logical sense. Negating your opponent's ideas in order to prove your own theory. I see you've been studying, Franziska. I just wanted to explain it to you as simply as possible, before you foolishly propose a foolish theory that only a foolish fool like you could. How naive of you to believe that only your opinions are valid, and still expect to discover the truth that the crime scene offers you. I listen to everyone. Franziska, you've still got a ways to go. What are you talking about? Are you saying there's a flaw in my logic? Mr. Faraday died instantly, and the fact that he did is what gives rise to the contradiction in this scene. The contradiction here in this crime scene is the order of events, how the bodies fell. The order of events. There's a contradiction in the order you say that the crime took place in. Oh, in that case, why don't you prove the contradiction already? Miles Edgeworth, remember that we, Von Karmas, must strive to be perfect in every way. But... fine, it was the fucking bodies. What kind of half-baked answer can hardly be called perfect, now can it? Maybe I should have given a more detailed explanation. Let's see, Mr. Faraday died instantly. Yeah, it's the middle thing. Let me get this straight. What you're arguing is this. Mr. Faraday took the gun from his evidence bag and shot Mr. Rel. Then the wounded Mr. Rel found an opportunity to take the knife and strike back. Upon being stabbed, Mr. Faraday died on the spot and Mr. Rel died thereafter. If that's the case, then how do you explain this? Take a good look at the order in which their bodies are piled. No! Mr. Faraday's body is lying on top of Mr. Rel's, therefore, Mr. Rel must have died before Mr. Faraday. Impossible! Yes, I agree that it seems strange no matter what angle you approach it from. Which means that the real mystery behind this crime scene that we must solve is... No, not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. What, no? I simply think that you ought to think a bit more outside the box. And that it's even clearer now that the incident started with Mr. Faraday's murderous intent. She sure bounced back quickly. An explanation won't be enough this time. It's going to take some very decisive evidence to prove her wrong. Oh yeah, I'm gonna... Franziska, I'm already tired of you. I'm tired of you when you're 18. I'm tired of you when you're 13. It's a different kind of tired when you're 18. But, you know what? I can wait a little longer. It was just chance that Mr. Faraday's body fell on top of Mr. Rel's. The two bodies fell into a pile, which indicates that they attacked each other at the same time. It really doesn't matter in the slightest that they fell in the opposite order. They couldn't have attacked each other in the same time. He had to be at least a yard away. Bang. I just know that Franziska's explanation isn't absolutely correct. All I have to do is find a hole in her logic. Once I do, I can then present her with evidence that proves the contradiction. It's okay, Franziska. I'm here to just say you're wrong, so your father doesn't yell at you. Let's press that one. See if it changes anything, and then I'll present it. What do you mean by they attacked each other at the same time? I assume Mr. Faraday had the two different weapons in his hands. He made to attack Mr. Rel while holding both the knife and revolver. He didn't have a revolver. And then, after Mr. Faraday fired the gun, Mr. Rel grabbed the knife as he was falling and stabbed Mr. Faraday. So fucking dumb. That is how Mr. Rel wound up on the bottom with Mr. Faraday on top. A different way is just say he got shot, he stumbled forward, lunge into Faraday while collapsing, and then they fall together. That would actually make it would just make better sense. Like he just grabs the knife, charges him, almost like bulldozes him, but his legs are like giving out because he's dying and hits the ground. I'm giving her an easier out than when she's making. At close range, that is more than possible. Yes, it's possible, but... Well, if you have any other ideas, then show me what you've got. Oh, I will. And to that extent, I'd like you to append what you said to your testimony. I don't see any point to that, but as you please. That's what I was looking for. Close range. Von Karma, I'm so sorry. So you believe they killed each other at close range? Sorry, but that's impossible. Just as it was written in the crime scene notes, the firing of the handgun did not leave a gunpowder burn on Mr. Rell's clothes. Therefore, Mr. Rell and the gun must have been separated by a distance of at least 2 or 3 yards. The fucking room isn't even that big. It is, but it's really a small room. He would have literally been on the other side of the room. Ah! Yes, that is by far the biggest contradiction. The two bodies are piled on each other, yet the gun was fired from a distance. And with there being no chance that Mr. Rell moved that far after being shot, that leaves only one possible explanation. He was sniped! What a completely foolish line of foolish thought from a thoroughly foolish fool. If I'm not right, then who was it that made the first move with the intent to kill? Huh? Who? The person that attacked first with the murderous intent, that would be Mr. Rell. Mr. Rell, of course. You know, you're God damn it. It was like neither. Then is it someone else? How? Who got in? Your foolishly foolhardy ideas making me feel just as foolish as you. The murder weapons used in this case were taken straight from Mr. Faraday's bag. The fact that Mr. Faraday had items that could be used to kill in his possession is something Mr. Rell couldn't have known. Ouch. She's right, of course. Mr. Rell wouldn't have known what was inside Mr. Faraday's bag. I'd rethink this. Carefully. Mr. Faraday, but is he just fucking stupid? Mr. Faraday, of course. Hey, pal, what are you saying? Contradicts with you. Yeah, I know. Fuck. Here in this room, it's someone fucking else. I don't know. How? Contradictions appear no matter which man we claim attacked first. Thus, there can only be one explanation. There was a third person here. You fucking stupid? It was that third person who killed both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell. And yet set their bodies up to make it look like a double murder. That third person is the real culprit. Miles Edgeworth, there's just one thing you're missing. A brain! Evidence correct. Exactly. Everything you've said up until now is nothing but a story played out in your head. However, this is where the real test begins. Can you prove that there was a third person involved in this crime? Of course. If the third person was truly here, the fact would resolve the glaring contradiction. The proof that this has all been a setup made to look like they killed each other. I'll present it and lay bare the final piece of the puzzle that's not yet in place. What is the piece of evidence that proves there's a third person involved? Fuck. It's not that. Uh. This one? Fuck, I have no idea. Crime scene notes? Nope. Well, exactly. I actually don't know. There's no need for an explanation. Well, I have no idea how it's related, so can you please explain it to me? Yes, well, let me guess. You can't explain it, can you? Mad. Oh. It appeared that I was wrong. But there is definitely a contradiction here. And it should resolve itself if there truly was a third person here. I just need to go over the evidence and my thoughts. Like, is it his theory? Oh, duty other than a gunshot. Didn't hear the sign of struggle. Fuck. No. This? Yes! Ah, oh, thank God. The gun in Mr. Faraday's hand and the plastic bag with its blood on it. These two items point to the presence of a third person. Oh, yeah, he would have been bleeding at that time. The bag. How so? I was thinking about that a little bit, but... Recall Detective Gumshoe's testimony. I was in the whole time, but I didn't hear a single peep of a struggle. If there wasn't a struggle in this room, then there shouldn't be any plastic bags on the ground. Meaning there's someone else who must have deliberately scattered them around. Mad. Do you not see the possibility in this? Disregarding the gun for the moment. There is a high probability of blood splatter when a knife is used on a person. If the culprit held the knife with a plastic bag around it, they could use the bag to catch any blood spatter from when they withdrew the knife. That's good. Then by separating a few more plastic bags around, mixing the bloody one in then with them, and arranging the room to make it look like there was a struggle between the two, they were able to conceal their presence. Ah! Broken. Sharpie. Looks like we've still got a way to go in this investigation. Yes. Objection. Hello? Where did you come from? What the heck's up with you, pal? Mr. Bad, I advise you to place Detective Gumshoe under arrest. What? What's the meaning of this? Huh. Looks like you're not man enough to discipline your own subordinates. Don't you dare. That detective claims he was there, standing in front of the door the whole time. But I have it on good authority that it was all a giant lie. Miss Yu, I ask that you please explain that last statement. I'll let His Honor explain it himself. I saw it with my own eyes, I tell you. During the recess, there was a period of time when there was no one in the hallway. What? See, Mr. Bad. So I ask you, why would a detective who was supposedly doing his job the whole time want to fabricate such a lie? Gumshoe, did you kill Mr. Faraday? No! Of course not, sir. It appeared that the one who set the whole crime scene up was that detective. Which basically renders his testimony a complete lie and wholly invalid. And it looks like your perfect logic has just come tumbling down, Miles. I was in the whole time, but I didn't hear a single peep of a struggle. Was that statement really a lie? Detective Gumshoe, you're now a suspect in the murder of 2 men. Now spit out the truth, or so help me God. I haven't lied to anyone, sir. Honest. I really was there. I was in the hallway the whole time. Detective Bad, I ask that you please do not act without my permission. After all, I am the one that is heading up this investigation, am I not? Don't talk like you know what's going on, boy. All I want is for the investigation to run perfectly. Perfection is the only wish of a disciple of Von Karma, after all. Therefore, before you take Detective Gumshoe into custody, I'd like to set the record straight on something. What's that? What should I ask Detective Gumshoe about? Why he wasn't in the hallway. Detective Gumshoe, why were you missing from the hallway for a span of time? Look, pal, like I said, I was in there the whole time, okay? But there's testimony against you that... Miles Edgeworth, why are you wasting our time with a completely useless question? The only logical reason as to why he was absent is that he was busy committing the crime. Anyone who says otherwise is a fool. Maybe I should ask about something else. Stay in the hallway. Detective Gumshoe, I take it no one else was in that hallway at any time, correct? Huh? Oh, of course not, pal. You're not being awfully defensive. Might you be hiding something from me? Watch your mouth, pal. You can't go around saying stuff like that about me without any evidence. I suppose you're right. I have no evidence at this point. Miles Edgeworth, how can you be losing a battle of wits with this detective? You're a disgrace. They don't care about motive. At least the last time they didn't fucking care about motive. Maybe I should ask something else. What's your motive? I suppose the one thing I'd like to clarify is Detective Gumshoe's motive for committing this crime. Motive, huh? Gumshoe, you got a grudge against Faraday or something? No, sir, not me. Not a single bad thing against Mr. Faraday, sir. Is that a fact? You really have a problem with lying, don't you, Detective Gumshoe? I'm telling you, I am not lying. The more unnatural you act, the more suspicious you become, you know. If you want a motive, Edgeworth, I have one right here. Could you please share it with us? However, be forewarned that I won't hesitate to object to flights of fancy. Because all I'm interested in is in the perfect explanation. You're serious, aren't you? Fine. You amuse me, so I'll humor you with a little courtroom practice.